Hello everybody, I'm Arden, and welcome to another episode of Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert. Today, we've braved the horrors of space, and now it's time to return to the overworld and brave the horrors that we will create ourselves. And that means we're starting into blood magic. So I've cleared off the back area of my base back here, near my miniaturization field, to start building the altar and all the other accoutrements of blood magic. But first, we need to open the gate. And to open the gate for blood magic, we need to build a rudimentary snare, which is pretty simple. It's just some enchanted fabric from Thaumcraft, which is just some wool and some string, mana steel ingots, and a redstone root, which is just grass and redstone. And gate completed. Now in blood magic proper, we can finally open up the chapter and get our quest book started. Now, as the quest book tells you, it does come with a book, and you probably should reference the book just like most of the other complicated magic mods, because blood magic is actually kind of convoluted if you haven't gone through before, and I actually find it kind of hard to automate. It doesn't make for graceful structures, at least in the past couple times I've used it, but I also never get all that very far into it, because, you know, it takes effort, and I mean, I'm not a heavy effort guy. That's why I only picked, one of the longest mod packs that's been made. I don't make good choices, people. Anyhow, the first step here is to go make some demonic will, which we need to do by snaring some monsters. So, I think you know what time it is. While I could have waited just for nighttime and to gather some mobs in the area, I figured I would just create a little kill box murder hole right here next to where I'm going to put the altar, because I'm going to need a spawner out here eventually anyways, and I just put in a standard skeleton spawner in there. Nothing special, not even a restored one, just the normal type. So let's go get some souls. Okay, so maybe skeletons weren't the best choice to put in the spawner, or at least not the most photogenic of options, but demonic wills gotten. Oh, and I added a cyclic wireless transmitter and receiver onto this mob farm here so I can turn on a redstone light on top to turn it off. You just put the receiver down, select the transmitter, and then punch with it, left click, not right, to link it to the receiver, and then you just put it wherever you want. Then I just slapped a lever on top of it and made it look ugly, but here we are. So the next step up is to build the blood altar. And the blood altar is a fairly sizable multi-block structure, at least when you finish it. As it says yet, it's the biggest one is 23 by 9 by 23, so you want to make a lot of room, which is why I cleared out a lot of space. But now that we've read this, we can just finish this. And the blood altar is actually not too hard to make. It mostly just needs brass plates from Thaumcraft and a glass lens from Astral Sorcery. This is all stuff we've made before. Alright, so now we have ye olde blood altar, and what can we do with this? Well, we need to feed it some blood, either ours or somebody else's. So the first step here is going to be make a sacrificial knife, which coincidentally is one of the very next quests. And making it is also, while intimidating looking, fairly easy, because it's mana glass from Botania, which is just glass tossed in a mana pool, a soul scribe, which is just basic Botania materials, and then a brass ingot. So let's go get those so I can start stabbing myself. I'm not gonna lie, it took me longer than I want to admit in a quick Google to remember how to make a chemical brass, because I haven't done it in a while. But you just right click and you start stabbing yourself, and you see that the pool starts filling up with blood. But as you can see, I now have 8,000 in there. And the very first thing we want to do with these life points that we created is toss a book into the blood altar to create the Inspectoris Scandalum, just like that. And you can see that it's very quickly drawing out the life essence, and it changed. What this book lets you do is visualize how the higher tier altars look, so that you know which blocks have to be placed where to build the pyramid. If you right click it on your altar, it will tell you which blocks are missing in their exact positions. I would honestly say it's of relatively limited use, but it does exist if you don't want to look it up yourself or you want to figure it out on your own. I will, however, in the description put a link to a site, the same site that I used for Thaumcraft earlier. Anyhow, onward and upward. Now we need a receptacle that can actually store the life points for us, and that's the blood orbs. And the tier 1 blood orb is actually pretty easy to make. It just requires a mana diamond from Botania and some life points. And there we go. Which then leads us to the next quest, which has already been fulfilled because it gave us a reward at the very beginning to to make blank slates, which are just living rock, also tossed on here. And we're going to need a bunch of these over time, because the next step is actually to build the Blood Altar level 2. And the Blood Altar level 2 requires blank runes, which require a bunch of blank slates and a charged orb. So we need 8 of those runes, so let me go make some blank slates and stab myself a bunch of times. Nothing says healthy life choices like sitting in a vat of liquid meat while stabbing yourself repeatedly. Okay, and tier 2 Blood Altar build. When building this, leave the spot under the altar itself empty, but otherwise surround it with 8 of these blocks. Now this is important because this actually unblocks us from the Celestial Altar, which unblocks us from the Elven Gateway, because now we can make Reinforced Slate, which is just a tier 1 with 2,000 life points inside the tier 2 Blood Altar. Alright, and with these, I am now completely out of excuses to continue on with Astral Sorcery and with Botania. I might be able to hold off on Thaumcraft for a little bit longer, which is probably for the best given how much I dislike that. But for now, I guess let's finish up this tier and get a few other things made. And next up in this tier is the next Blood Orb, which is actually pretty easy to make. It just takes a Victus Viz crystal on the altar. Alright, just a little bit more of the old stabby and some more proper life choices, and we'll have the orb. There we go. Alright, the next thing we should build is the next dagger, the Dagger of Sacrifice. And this one just requires the Thaumium Sword, which is just Thaumium ingots, which we have. And with this made, we just hop back into our pool of absolutely no regrets and dump some more life energy into it, and now we have our dagger. Now, this dagger is different from the first dagger. This dagger isn't for cutting ourselves with. This dagger is for killing mobs with to get life energy. It works best on villagers, but a normal mob farm can work just fine for this. But it has to be within a few blocks of the altar, so eventually we'll probably move ye old Cage of Misery over there and put it above this and just create a kill room right above the altar. And then probably set up with a mechanical user and just have it stab things repeatedly. It'll be fun. The next step we're going to do is to go down over here and create the Hellfire Forge, which is used for crafting some of the other subcomponents we need for the later stuff in this tier and higher tiers. And it's to make it is just all stuff from the other magic mods which we already have available. Okay, and that was easily made, and this is where the demonic wills we gathered at the very beginning come in. Because if you look in the interface here, these 4 slots are where the ingredients for the recipes go. This 5th slot in the middle is where it appears. And this slot over here is for the fuel, which are demonic wills. And the first recipe we're going to make are the petty tataric gems, which will make it easier to get demonic wills. And this is just easily made. And these items just go into the Hellfire Forge. The bar fills up. Demonic will gets consumed, in this case 1 point of it. And now we have a petty tataric gem. We put this on our bar. We can go get the other demonic will out of our inventory. And if we now drop this on the ground and pick it up, you notice that it went inside the petty Tartaric gem. So this is a way of unclogging our inventory and storing it that way. But there's another use for this that will make it easier to collect them in general. And that's making a sentient sword with it. You just combine that with an iron sword to make this. Okay, and you'll note that I actually have 2 of these gems now because you need one to store it in. Put that in the iron sword in the Hellfire Forge and it will make the sentient sword. Now, I should note there are ways of upgrading this and you can actually enchant these. So that's what I'm going to do first before I use it to show you how this works, otherwise this could be painful. Also, apparently just dropping it on the ground and picking it up makes it stronger too. I couldn't tell you why, but it just did. It went from 1.4 to 1.6. So, I don't make it the rules, folks. Alright, got this enchanted up pretty nice with sharpness 5 on it and some unbreaking so it'll last longer. Let's turn the mob farm on and see how this works. So it looks like we're roughly getting about a point per mob kill, which isn't too bad. But this is now 2 things we have to gather by murdering stuff. Feel good about your choices in this pack yet? At this point we can just upgrade our Tartaric gem pretty easily. And the next tier, however, requires a tier 3 blood altar. So I guess I'm done getting shot at by skeletons for a little bit. Alright, so I slimmed down my kill box here a little bit and changed the spawner to a resource spawner and then added the more typical kill window here lined with slabs at the top so I can hit their feet so that I just don't get wear and tear in my armor because I'm lazy. Anyhow, now that we have basic resource production done for blood magic and we've unblocked my other magic quests, I think it's time to call it a day. So, as always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.